Welcome back to Hardly Minding My Business. I am your host, Dashing D. I know I said I was coming back and I wasn't going to have any breaks in the podcast while I was on vacation. And apparently, I fucked that up. So, my bad. So, basically, I didn't have a lot of alone time on vacation. I'll talk about that in a second, like my actual vacation or what I did. But I didn't have a whole lot of downtime or alone time. So, the one day that I did, I realized, well, hey, I didn't bring my ring light. I didn't bring my mount, no type of tripod, anything for my phone. And I was still willing to do it. Like I went back to the room. I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this. Everybody's busy doing something else. Let me go and try to record the podcast. And then, unfortunately, I gotta stop sitting so close to this plant. Unfortunately, I realized that there was no real logical way to record and have it be something that would make sense. So I was like, I'll just wait till it's time to record again, new episode. But what I can say is that I am trying to get us back on a Friday schedule. So we'll see how that goes, but that is my goal right now. So if you're watching this or listening to this, it should have come out on Friday, but we will see, because sometimes technical difficulties happen. But anyway, so yeah, that's my update this week. I went on vacation. It was cute. I went to Orlando, Florida. Disney World was very much a part of my trip. It wasn't a crazy Disney trip. I remember as a kid, I've gone several times. My mom used to take us, she would get the park hoppers and we would be out. Like we would go to all the parks. I don't know how we survived. I guess because we were kids and we were a lot more agile and just probably didn't feel that our feet were hurting. Like, we only did 2 parks, Animal Kingdom and Magic Kingdom. And if you know anything about these parks, they are massive, especially Magic Kingdom. Magic Kingdom is huge. I don't even think we really covered all of it, but we were there from before 9 a.m. to after 11 p.m. It was a long day. When I tell you that it has taken days for my feet to recuperate from that, I am just happy. Like, we got to the point, because they do this nightly fireworks show, which Disney is kind of a sham these days, because one, the characters don't walk around anymore. You have to like make an appointment to see them, which is bullshit. I don't know if that's a COVID thing or if that's just I haven't been to Disney in 20 years thing. I don't know what it is, but it's really annoying. Because also, scam, they are selling autograph books for the characters to sign your autograph books, which I remember as a kid. The moment you stepped into the park, you started to see characters and they would come over, they would grab the marker or the pen, they would sign your book. They're selling these autograph books at the front of the park, and then you're getting in the park and not seeing characters, which I think is really fucked up and shady, but neither here nor there. So they had this nightly fireworks show at 9 p.m. So we knew that we had to at least stay until whenever the show was over. I think it's about 18 minutes. And I said, all right, at 10 a.m., this was the second park that we had done while we were there. So at 10 a.m., my feet were like, what the fuck? What are we doing here? Why are we back on our feet like this? And I was like, okay, it's gonna be a long day. Somewhere around like 6 p.m., I was like, okay, I can do this. We only have a few more hours. We'll be out of the park. Don't get me wrong. I was not at all feeling like I wanted to go home or anything like that. It was just, my feet hurt so bad. They were so sore. They were so uncomfortable to the point that they were stinging, and it was just other than that, like, the walking itself was cool. I never have a problem walking a lot. I actually love to walk. So, and long distances at that. I don't have a problem with that. But my feet, I don't know what I could have done differently. I put on the most comfortable sneakers I own. I tried. I feel like the one thing that maybe I should have done was just preemptively like taking some pain reliever or something like that. I don't know. Kind of like before you go get a wax or before you get your hair done, like maybe you think your hair is gonna be too tight and you get headaches. I don't get headaches. But I used to do that before I would get a bikini wax. Some people say it works. I don't really know. I tried it the first couple of times I did it. And honestly and truly, I don't know. I don't know what the difference is. I guess it's been so long since the first time I did one that I don't really remember if it was effective. And I guess I didn't have anything to compare it to. So I was just following instructions. I remember asking this girl at work, this was a long time ago in my early 20s. I remember whispering to her, I had heard her talk about getting bikini waxes and I didn't know shit about that. All I knew was that I had a little young thing that I was seeing. And I was like, ooh, I want to do this. I don't know how we went from Disney to bikini waxes. Anyway, I might have told this story already on the pod, so I apologize if I have told this story already. But I remember going to her and being like, hey, so what exactly do you do? Like, where do you go? Like, what's the process? And what do I need to do if I want to do that? So she breaks it down for me. She's like, this is where you should go. To this day, I still go to the same chain. Not the same location, with the same chain. And and she was like, but listen, it's gonna hurt like hell. It's gonna be like the worst pain you've ever experienced. And she was like, have you ever like gotten your eyebrows threaded? And I was like, oh yeah, I get my eyebrows threaded all the time. I don't do that anymore. Don't do that. It pulls your skin. But I was like, okay, this is cool. We could do this. She was like, it's worse. I said, oh, okay. Now, I will be honest, I've never thought that a bikini wax was worse than an eyebrow threading. And maybe that's just the ones that I've gotten done. But that eyebrow threading shit hurts like hell. And if you're doing the right things to, exfoliate and take care of the girly, you shouldn't have too much pain. But anyway, this is not a tutorial on how to get a bikini wax. but I remember her telling me, make sure you take Tylenol before you go, because otherwise you're not gonna survive. And I was like, oh my gosh. I went to the store. I got myself some wipes because I had been at work all day. Don't do that anymore. Normally I like to, go first thing in the morning so I'm fresh. It's like going to the gynecologist. I don't like to go to the gynecologist at the end of the day. I remember calling my gynecologist office one day and trying to make an appointment, and the girl was like, come right now. And it was like 3:00 in the afternoon. I said, excuse me? I would like to go home and take a shower. Okay, can I come tomorrow? So they don't care, but I care. I just want to make sure I'm fresh. That's it. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, You gotta stay fresh and clean, right? So anyway, she tells me to take the Tylenol. So that's what it made me think of. Like, maybe I should have taken some Tylenol before I walked for 14 hours. And maybe it would have been a little bit different. When I tell you that my feet were still on fire 2 days later, crazy. But the point is, I made it through. I had a blast. It was for my niece's birthday. She turned 10. So it was a really exciting time for her, although she's not into characters. So that part of it kind of worked out. But we had a great time. It was a lot of fun. And kind of nostalgic for me because, as I said, I've been to Disney several times, but when I was a kid. So it was pretty cool to, go back and see what's changed, what's the same. Some of it is very much the same, some of it is not. But I had a good time. I hope that I lost like 5 pounds standing on them lines and walking through them parks for so many hours. There better be some sort of reward for this. But yeah, it was a blast. I had a great time. I had a great experience. So that's good. So I guess we should get started. Petty or nah. This one's gonna be quick, but it needs to be said. So I need to know which one of y'all taught white people fire. Oh, that's so fire. Oh, that's whatever. However the kids say it. I don't know. It's not something I really use. Maybe once or twice here and there, but you don't normally hear me saying, oh, that's so fire. Like, no, that's just not. I might use a flame emoji every now and again, but that's not really. I use dope. I feel like that's still appropriate. That's still, you know, of the now. I just don't understand who taught it to white people, because they first of all, sometimes they say it and it doesn't make sense. It's kind of like shook. I might have talked about that before. I'm not getting into that because it really agitates me when they say that they're shook. But, because that didn't come from them. But anyway, so I'm getting off track here. Who taught white people fire and why? Why did y'all do it? And can y'all do me a favor and stop teaching them things? Like, it doesn't sound good. It doesn't sound right. It doesn't. It doesn't. You can always tell when somebody is co-opting something because it just doesn't fit. It's kind of like woke, where white people think they know the definition of woke and have no idea, especially the very, very conservative whites. They think they know what woke means and have no idea what it means. And in fact, make themselves sound stupid when they're trying to make us look stupid. Go figure. But yeah, that's my petty or not. Please stop teaching them things. I don't know who did it, but if it was you, don't do it again. Don't do it again. Next on the list, I mean, some of this is a little outdated now. I had the Met Gala on my list. I'm sure that you've seen by now. People talking about looks and things like that. I really don't feel like there's a whole lot to say there, especially because it's past now, and I'm sure that everyone has talked about who looked great, who did not. I will point out a couple of looks that I like. I mean, obviously, I always wait to see what Rihanna is going to wear. So she's always very over the top, very avant-garde. Love to see it. I never really know how I feel about what she's wearing, like in terms of do I like it or not, because I kind of look at it as art. She's not really giving us real, true looks that we could be like, oh man, you know, if I had the money, if I had the resources, if I knew the right people, I would wear that dress. A lot of the times that's not how Rihanna shows up. Rihanna shows up as like I said, the most avant-garde. She is in these huge masterpieces that can be worn nowhere else but the Met Gala. So I don't really have an opinion on whether I like it or not. I mean, I just think she's cute with her baby bump. She be doing her thing out there, and I appreciate that very much. Halle Bailey, excuse me, was there. She looked beautiful. I feel like she kind of did. The theme was, by the way, Karl Lagerfeld. So there was a lot of Chanel. There was a lot of black and white. And Halle Bailey, I thought she looked beautiful. I don't know if I really felt that she stuck to the theme per se, but I thought she looked beautiful, and I felt like she was channeling The Little Mermaid, which I like. The Little Mermaid is coming out, is it this week? Oh my gosh, I really don't know. I want to say it's this weekend. The Little Mermaid is coming out. If it's not this weekend, then it must be next weekend. But I know that the premiere happened a couple days ago. She looked beautiful there as well. I saw her sister. There was this cool video of Chloe, her sister, passing by her on the red carpet, and she got so excited to see her sister, and they grabbed hands really quick. They couldn't really talk, but it was so cute. I was like, I love this so much, you know, and I have a sister, so I totally get it. I would be thrilled if she was in The Little Mermaid and I could go celebrate her like that. So anyway, I thought she looked beautiful. I'm thinking of all the younger girlies, because those were the ones that stuck out to me. Yara Shahidi looked beautiful. Yara Shahidi has really grown up. She looked really grown up, but she looked gorgeous. She was wearing this long hair, long and wavy. It was very old Hollywood. And then she had like this corseted dress. It was gold and white, I believe, and she just looked really demure. She reminded me of like Iman, something that we would have seen Iman in. But yeah, so those are my hot takes. I don't know how hot they are, but those were the people that stuck out to me at the Met Gala. The other thing that stuck out to me was, and this is what I really wanted to talk about, is Janelle Monáe dancing on a table or a bar after the Met Gala at an after party. Now, people are upset about this. Also, I've heard people say that as a Black woman, she should not be doing this. She's making us look bad. She's of a certain caliber, and so she shouldn't behave like this. Wah. I don't give a fuck, okay? She is grown. She can decide what she wants to do. If she wants to dance on a bar at a party with other rich people who have very few cares in the world, what is really the problem, and why is it becoming a conversation about Black women and what they should be doing and what standard they should uphold? So what, everyone else, all other women don't have to uphold a standard? They could just do whatever the fuck they want? Why is it that Black women get put in this box where they're not supposed to do this and they're only supposed to act just so? And somehow her dancing on a bar at a party while everybody was probably filled with alcohol and other drugs and having a good time and doing and being beautiful and rich and having a blast. Why is it that she can't just, why is it that means that everything that she did, everything that she accomplished up to that point is now somehow made small and diminished? It somehow means less because she had a good time, because she got carried away at a party. She didn't do anything to hurt anyone. She was having a good time by herself. She wasn't grabbing dicks or grabbing pussies or whatever the case may be. She was simply having a good ass time. I don't understand. I will never understand why we do this, why as Black people we do this, and everybody else too. I will never understand why we get held to an impossible standard. She was having fun at a party amongst her peers. And the only thing that makes this nuts to me is that video even made it out of the party. That's what's wild to me, because honestly, we shouldn't have seen that. That should have been for those people at that party having that good time. You think that's the first time that someone has jumped on a bar and started dancing at a party? The problem is, and y'all know, y'all been to parties, y'all been to clubs, y'all have done your dirt. It's just that you don't find it later on the internet. I mean, except for maybe the freak people that are shitting their pants right now because there's a Hulu doc coming out. We're not going to talk about that, but I'm sure you know about it by now. Yeah, I just don't get it. I just don't get it. And I'm not in the business of indicting people for having a good time, being happy and joyful and harmless in the grand scheme of fuck shit that people do publicly and privately. Dancing on a bar at a party doesn't really sound like something crazy to me. It actually sounds like people need to lighten up. But that's where I'm at with that. I don't get it. What else we got to talk about? Speaking of the Met Gala, well, not really the Met Gala, but Met Gala adjacent. So there is a rumor that Usher and Kim Kardashian are seeing each other. Now, I thought that Usher had some long-standing girlfriend, at least in recent years. I mean, if it's true, okay. I don't really know what to do with that information. It wouldn't be my choice. But they're grown and, you know, they could do whatever they want. But the reason that why people think this is because she went to Usher's show 2 nights in 1 week in Vegas. But apparently the story is that she went, you know, posted about it. She went with friends. And then I guess friends she didn't go with hit her up and was like, so you went to see Usher without us? And so she said, you know, I'm rich, I got it like that. I could get more tickets. So I'm gonna just take those friends the next night. That seems pretty plausible. The problem is that some of us can't understand living a life that way because we just don't have access to it. So I don't know. I don't really know what the truth is there. And honestly, like I said, it's not my choice, but I also don't know what to do with that information. Someone sent it to me and I thought it was really interesting, but I just don't, I don't know what to do with it. Like, maybe it's true, maybe it's not. I don't really know, but I guess we'll see. There's also been talk of her being at the Lakers games, and I guess Tristan Thompson just got traded to the Lakers. I wasn't going to talk about this, but since we're here, we're here. There is a TikTok. There's a woman on TikTok that I follow. She works in marketing. So she claims that the reason she knows this is because she thinks this is good marketing. I don't know. I don't even think she works in like, anyway, it doesn't matter. So she thinks that this is a soft launch for Tristan and Khloe's reunion. Apparently, Kim was seen at the game, and then Chris and Corey were seen at the game. I mean, I'll also say this, like, he's a part of the family. Khloe has 2 children with him. It's not unlikely that they would still, you know, have a decent relationship with him and support him, or have a good enough relationship to be like, hey, can I get tickets to the Lakers game? I mean, I'm sure they could get them on their own, but whatever. I don't know. I just feel like, I don't know what this is, but she claims that it's a soft launch and that we're going to see over the coming weeks that him and Khloe are back together, or I think the show is returning and that we'll see that they're getting back together. I don't know. I don't watch the Kardashians. I haven't watched the Kardashians in years. I've never seen the show that they have on Hulu now. So I don't really know, and I kind of make it a point not to really talk about Kim K here, but you know, sometimes she comes up because, you know, she intermingles with the blacks. So there is that. And speaking of Usher, I guess we have to talk about Chris Brown and Usher. I'm not going to spend too much time on it. This is going to be one of those things that I don't really want to talk about because I don't really know what to do with this information. We don't have enough evidence to say that what's being reported really happened. The story is that allegedly Chris Brown and Tiana Taylor get into some sort of confrontation. And Usher jumps in to, I guess, avenge Tiana Taylor. And him and Chris Brown have words. Then it's also being reported that after that, Chris Brown leaves, exits the party, which, by the way, this party was a party that Usher threw for Chris Brown for his birthday. So the story is that Chris Brown leaves the party, gets on his tour bus, Usher follows him, and Usher gets jumped by Chris Brown's people. I don't know how true that is. I don't think I believe that. I won't believe that unless one of them says that really happened. I don't think that happened. I think maybe the beginning of the story is where it starts, but I don't think it ends the way that is being reported. And again, there's no evidence of this. So unless somebody leaks a video or something. I refuse to believe that that's how it ended. But fascinating stuff. Chris Brown is always in some shit. I really never want to see Usher in some shit. And and I hope Tiana Taylor's okay. I just feel like her name kind of got lost in this whole conversation. I don't know. Maybe that's a good thing for her. Maybe she doesn't want to be involved in it. But I'm so tired of talking about Chris Brown, and I don't know, because apparently the next night everybody was cool. They performed at the Lovers and Friends concert, festival, and that was that. But there's also rumors that Chris Brown got into something that night. So I don't really know, like, it's exhausting, and I don't want to try to figure it out. That I don't care. I really don't care. I don't. You know what I do care about? Well, I can't really say I can. What I do find interesting is Smokey Robinson. Smokey lately has been... Smokey is a wild boy. Let me say that. If you know, you know. His latest album is like very raunchy. The titles are, go look it up, please. Just look it up and you'll see what I mean. Smokey outed him and Diana Ross. He claims that him and Diana Ross had an affair while he was with his wife. I don't understand why he's talking about Diana Ross. Leave her alone. Like, what did she do to you? Why today? Why now? Why does it matter? And I think this happened a long time ago. This is nothing recent. So I don't understand why he brought it up. What is that about, where like men, I'm gonna get shit for this, where men feel like, I don't know, like they have a day where they drank some truth serum and they tell on themselves. And in the process of telling on yourself, another person was involved and you tell on that person too. And I can identify with that in a way that y'all don't even understand. And I'm not getting into that because too much for the pod. But, and no, I was not a mistress. But what I do know is that sometimes people just need to shut the fuck up. Sometimes some skeletons don't need to be brought out of the closet. They just really don't. They really do not. And I don't know why he feels like he should be talking about this right now, but apparently he's talking about it. So I just want to say justice for Diana Ross, because how'd she get in it? Like, what is this about? Like, why now? Like, why? What's the point? You don't need buzz. You just made your sex album. People are listening to it. People were talking about it when it came out. Like, what is this about? I just feel like sometimes people get a little bit older and then they start to say, this is the other thing that happens. You get a little bit older and you're like, fuck it. I don't even care what people think now. But my thing is, you're outing another person. She had nothing to do with you deciding you wanted to tell your truth. I will say this. When you decide to tell a truth that has to do with someone else, at least do them a solid and give them a heads up. Whether you tell them afterwards because you know they're going to find out, or whether you tell them before because you know it's what you're about to do. Give them a heads up. It might change the situation a little bit. Just a thought I had based on experience. Just a thought I had. So I think that's it for that. I felt very much like a round robin type of, I went really fast on those topics. But I did want to talk about, I'm not going to talk too much about TV this week because I've been talking about TV a lot lately. But I will say that I was watching, I completely forgot to say that I was watching the final season of A Million Little Things. It finally ended last week. Really sad ending. But, the ending was almost like a full circle moment. I love this show because I feel like grief and loss and death is not something that we all talk about a lot, and it's a difficult thing to talk about, but I feel like this show handled it in a very careful and responsible way, and it showed how you can heal from loss and how you can move forward after a loss. And I think that it was really cool. I don't want to spoil it because it just came out last week, but what I will say is I think it's really cool the way they ended it. It was almost like, I don't know how to say this. The way the show starts is with a group of friends losing one of their friends. He takes his own life. And it takes you through, I mean, that's always the story that's underneath it, right? But all of these other different stories about different characters arise after that, and that becomes the focus. I think some people think that the whole show is just focused on this one person and what happened. It isn't. He's mentioned, and he's very much a part of their lives in different ways, but we're able to see everyone else he left behind, and how they exist after his death. What made the ending of the series really sweet and interesting to me was that it went from the series premiere being a moment that was unexpected, and no one could have prepared for the devastation that they encountered once this person was gone. But by the end of the series, they show us what it looks like to anticipate, to prepare yourself for loss, which I think is a full circle moment for the show. So I know that sounds really sad and depressing, but I promise in between, the show wasn't all sad and depressing. It's definitely a tearjerker. It's definitely has its twists and turns, and there are plenty of happy moments, but there are also like plenty of crap moments that happen. It's a TV drama, so that's a part of the formula, right? But if you've never seen it before, I would say check it out. It's worth the watch. As someone who has dealt with a lot of death and a lot of loss in their life, this show is actually really comforting to me. So that's all I'll say about that. And then I have one last thing before I get into tweet of the week. And that last thing is, well, actually, no, I'm lying. I don't have one last thing. That is it. But tweet of the week for this week. So it's a two-parter. ABC News tweeted earlier today that Elon Musk has chosen a new CEO of Twitter and plans to step down from the role within weeks. I think we all knew that either Elon Musk would have to step down or he would have to watch Twitter continue to crumble in front of him. So hopefully now with this new CEO, there will be new policies and procedures in place, and Twitter can kind of revive itself from to a better place, because it's kind of been struggling since Elon Musk bought it out. Now, Elon Musk will still have certain duties. He will be on the board, and I think they said he'll be overseeing system operations and things like that, so he'll still be involved. But that is not technically the tweet of the week. The tweet is Dionne Warwick, and as we know her here, Big Dionne, retweeting the ABC News tweet and tweeting. I am excited to officially take on the role as CEO of Twitter. This has been in the works for months. And you know what? Shout out to Big Dion because she knows how to do Twitter better than most of us. And I love to see it. We know she's not going to be the CEO of Twitter, but it was funny and it was delightful to see. So I enjoyed that. And I think that's it. That's all we got for this week. Hopefully I'll come back next week. Don't forget that there is merch. It's in the bio, and if you miss me and you want to see some more of me, a new episode of Let's Have a Real Conversation came out today. Title of it is Lovers and Friends, and we talk about the Chris Brown and Usher thing, but we also talk about a bunch of other things too. So yeah, check it out, and I will see y'all next week. Bye.